You guys are never gonna guess what I have today. I have a gift from Holbein. I'm really excited. Oh, I'm so excited I didn't even do the intro. Hi everybody, I'm Amy from Northwoods Studio, and today I have a gift from Holbein. I'm really excited to open this. I'm gonna flip this around. I'll hide my address, but there, hopefully you can see it. Holbein. All right, so grab yourself something nice to drink. Come on in. We're gonna open this. We're gonna have a good look at it. We're gonna do some swatching and probably make some art with it. So come on in and let's see what I got. Okay, you guys, I got this yesterday in the mail and I haven't had a chance to film yet, and I have been just really excited to open this and see what's in here. I think I've got maybe 2 tubes of Holbein gouache in my whole collection of art supplies. I've wanted to try them. They're a little pricier. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. And then I thought to myself, why don't I write to Holbein and see if they'd be interested in sending me some samples? And I didn't really expect anything, but they said they would. So they sent me this little package. Let me see, there's a little paper in here. Okay, ooh, okay. And then there is this says Holbein Acrylic Gouache and Artist Gouache. There's a little booklet. And we'll probably, you know, I start with the camera here, but then I move it over there to my overhead so you can see things better. So we'll start here, but then move over there. Oh my goodness, look at the chart. Look at all the colors. Oh, they're so awesome. We'll take a better look at this overhead too. I really want to try their Irodori. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The traditional colors of Japan. They come in like the spring, summer, fall, and winter sets. I'd really like to try those. Okay, so let's see what's in here. There's 2 things in here. The first one is the Holbein's Artist Gouache 5-color set, 5 tubes, 5 mLs. So just the basic set. And the Holbein Acrylic Gouache 5-color set. Look at that. So exciting. Okay, so we've got 2 sets of 5. Let's open this up here. For those of you who follow my channel, know that I recently celebrated my birthday, and I have a gift card to Blick Art Materials, and I have not spent it yet. Okay, these are the Holbein Artist Gouache. They are in the basic primaries. We'll look at them up. I'm not going to take them out right now, but red, yellow, blue, I think probably a black and a white. So just a little trial set of those. Oh, come on. Don't worry, I found them all. So there's the little trial set of the regular gouache. And then we have the acrylic gouache. Now I use both regular gouache and acrylic gouache depending on what I am doing and what effects I want. I've been thinking of doing like a gouache 101 video, but I haven't done it yet. So we have, again, a red, yellow, blue, black, and white here of the acrylics. I think these look like bigger tubes. Are they bigger tubes? They are bigger tubes. These are 12 ml. So let's move you from here to here, and we will swatch these and see what we think and look at this chart. And like I said, I haven't spent my gift card at Blick yet. I was thinking it'd be really fun to do the autumn, spring, summer, and fall set and get a new one each season. They're not, you know, they're kind of pricey, but I'm just looking at the light fastness here. So there's 4 is absolutely permanent, 3 is permanent, 2 is moderately durable, 1 is durable, and no mark is not rated. So, you know me and my light fastness. I will check that out and see if there's any like year rating on those. For, you think moderately durable would be below durable. Okay, I'm going to take a look at these over here and we'll have some fun. I'm really excited to try them. Okay, you guys, so we're gonna start with the regular gouache. I've got the book that I normally swatch in, and I'm not just gonna swatch these colors, I'm actually gonna do a little mixing and see what I think. I usually like to have like a quinacridone magenta for mixing, so I want to take a look at their carmine here and see what I think. And also, these are re-wettable even if they dry on your palette, so I'm not worried about wasting the paint like I would with an acrylic gouache. So we're gonna do some color mixing with these and see what we think. And I'm not gonna lie, I did already order a Holbein Designer's Gouache, or Artist Gouache I guess they're called, in, I think, quinacridone magenta. A magenta color for sure, one that was light fast. So, and it's supposed to be delivered this afternoon. So if it does come today and I feel like I need it to mix, I'm not going to feel shy about adding that in to our colors here. So we're going to start first though by, I'm not going to bother swatching the white, but we'll start with swatching the colors just as is. I should label this. I think this is, I don't know if they, I don't think it is their mixing color set, because I think their mixing color comes with a magenta. So we'll just Holbein Artists Gouache 5-color set. And I'm going to put gifts so I know that that's where I got it. Alright. So we're going to start with the black. This is mixed media paper. Generally with gouache I tend to use a little bit of a smoother paper, but this is fine too. So that is a lovely, I'm going to add a little water here. A lovely warm black. So that's good to know. Okay. Both Miss Farita and my dog Belle are in here with me, so there may be noise. I can hear Miss Farita right now. I don't know if you guys can hear her or not. So here is, I don't even know what colors these are. I should really be labeling them so I know. I will when I'm done putting the first layers down. Okay, so there's that, and then we're gonna try wetting it too, because occasionally I will use gouache in a transparent way, especially for underlayers. People are always asking me, like, how do you use gouache and not always reactivate the layer underneath? And the trick to that is to use thinner layers to start, or don't use layers, and then also to be really confident in your strokes. So if you are using layers and you go to add another layer, put it down, wait for the bottom layer to totally dry, first of all, totally dry, like overnight totally dry. The drier it is, the more of a chance you have of it not reactivating. And then once it's totally dry, put your next layer on in one confident stroke. Don't be, you know, messing about. Okay, so those, that's not a super, that might work. It's a fairly pinky red. I'm going to list the colors here before I forget what they are. Well, I won't forget. And I just dropped them all. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little rough. I'm fighting a cold. Not fighting a cold, I have a cold. I have it. It's here and it's here to stay for a little bit. But I'm not as sick as my kids, so that's something. I just got gouache all over me. Okay, so I'm just labeling these here, and then we're going to do some color mixing experiments. You can see there that I'm mixing the yellow with the black to get a nice muted green. Yes, I do use black. I didn't mean you should never, ever, ever use black. I meant you should not use straight black in that, the video, the 5 terrible watercolor materials you may be using video. I'll be back in a second. It's not going to get more purple than this, which is why I usually recommend a magenta color for color mixing. We'll try, but it's not gonna. It's gonna be this kind of muted, dull purple, which is a lovely color, but sometimes if you want to make a really bright purple, I mean, you're not going to be able to do it with the basic primaries. I have a video up on color theory. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. It turned out to be really controversial. But I'll link it. I did not think it was controversial, but it I ended up having somebody get really upset with me about it. To each their own, I guess. I don't know. So now this is more of our periwinkle, dark periwinkle blue. So that's about the range of colors you're going to get with the purple tones. So now let's try doing some clear greens and see what we can get. We'll do just some clear greens to start, and then we'll try doing some muted greens. Although we do have some lovely muted greens up there. So here is just, I'm doing these pretty watery because, whoops, you don't need to waste a lot of paint to do the color mixing. When I paint with them, I don't generally use them this watery. This is just to see the colors. So here is a nice bluey green. Let's add some more yellow. So I'm just popping in and out here and speeding this up a little bit. I'm just doing some basic color mixing. If you want to check out my color theory video, I talk about color mixing in there and how to desaturate colors and how to mute colors, which is the same thing. I don't know, I just said that. And how to mix colors. So if you want to check that out, I will link that video down below, and I'm going to be back to talk to you in real time here now. So you can see we can get quite a range, and this isn't even adding in any of the whites. So like I didn't do any pastel colors. I suppose we could do that quick. So here's just a quick couple of pastel colors. If you would like me to actually do a color mixing video, like a color mixing 101, let me know down in the comments and I'll see. I'm sure there's similar colors: lemon yellow, sky blue, and carmine. So the sky blue might be a touch different. Okay, so I just switched out palettes and we're going to try the acrylics, the acrylic gouache. So again, this is the carmine red. Don't want to put out too much of these because they will dry before I use them all. The lemon yellow. A huge thank you to Holbein for sending these. I was so excited to get them. I hope I said that. I think I was so excited to get them, I might have forgot to say thank you. So I'm doing some more color mixing here. The acrylic set was a little bit different than the Artist Gouache set. The blue in this one was cooler. The red was cooler and the yellow was cooler. So most of the colors that I mixed ended up being cool, whereas with the Artist Gouache set, everything was more on the warm side. So all the colors ended up being warm. So you will see in a minute that I got a primary magenta with my own money to go with the designers, the Artist Gouache. I keep saying designers because a lot of them call it that, but the Artist Gouache. And then I got the primary magenta and the ultramarine blue to go with the acrylic gouache set, just because I wanted to be able to get a full range of colors. With those additions, you basically have a split primary palette, which is, you know, your hots and colds, your warms and cools, and you can mix a much bigger range of colors with that palette. Okay guys, I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. I just did some quick color mixing to make some color notes on here. This is so I ordered this with my own money. This is the Holbein's Artist Gouache. This is the non-acrylic in primary magenta. And you'll see that coming up. I think it was my birthday. I got birthday gift cards in October, and it took me a little while to spend it. This is not this set, but I want to know if I should get this color for this set too. And I haven't even swatched this yet. So let's just quick swatch this over here. I'm just gonna take a little. Okay, so I don't remember if I actually filmed this or not. This is, so far, I've been doing the Holbein Artist Gouache. This is the not acrylic gouache. Plus, I've got some Neo Color 2s in there so far. And I can't remember if I filmed it or not. I bought this over the weekend as well. This is the Holbein Artist Gouache Primary Magenta, because I feel like with that, with these three colors, plus this and the black and white, you have a good mixing set. So, I have noticed, one thing I've noticed right away, one of the first things I noticed is, one of the problems that people have with regular gouache is that the bottom layers will reactivate when you try to put other layers on top. And I have noticed right away that these stay put better than any other designer, artist designer gouache that I've tried. It doesn't reactivate as long as you let it dry all the way. It doesn't reactivate as easily as Winsor & Newton gouache or the Shinhan gouache. I'm trying to think of the other gouaches I've tried. Himi for sure. That's not a professional brand, but I'm enjoying this more than I have been enjoying the Winsor & Newton designer gouache, and I think I'm going to make a switch to this. I haven't quite finished this painting. I'm going to keep working on it and see what I think, but I'm thinking I'm going to be switching. So, you can see I just went right over that blushed cheek with this lighter color, and nothing is coming up. It's not mixing. I mean, I'm sure if I scrubbed at it, it probably would. Oh. Monday morning, what are you gonna do? And I mean, sometimes I do want it to mix, so that's something I'd probably want to check, because sometimes I do want it to mix, but a lot of the time I would rather it didn't. So, I want to lighten up the mouse too. I feel like it dried darker than I wanted it to be. My voice is coming back, so hopefully it's not too bad. It's been, yeah, it's coming back, so I'm getting better. I'm on the mend, as they say. It does still sound kind of rocky and low, though. Again, I'm going over this bottom layer. It's not coming up. It's not mixing. It re-wets decently well. I think the Winsor & Newton designer gouache may re-wet a little bit better than this, but it's not that big of a deal. Just maybe, you know, wet your paints if they're on your palette. Wet your paints and plan on letting them sit for a little bit to re-wet before you start painting, is what I would suggest. This painting was kind of a spur of the moment thing over the weekend. I was just feeling kind of stressed out and I wanted to paint, and I sketched this in quick and came in here and started painting, and I'm pretty sure, I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure the battery on my camera was dead and the backup battery hadn't been plugged in. It had come unplugged and I hadn't realized it. And I think I just started painting. I've been trying to give myself permission to not always have to paint everything on camera all the time, which has been good for my art, although maybe not great for my YouTube videos, but it can't always be just about the YouTube, if that makes sense. I've used to say it a lot more, but I always used to say that I wanted to be an artist with a YouTube channel and not a YouTuber who does art. And it's really easy to fall into that trap of just worrying about the channel and not working or developing your art or your skills as an artist, trying to play it safe and all of that. And as much as I enjoy making videos and teaching and all of that, first and foremost, I'm an artist. And I want to make sure that I am developing my art and my skill and growing as an artist. And sometimes that's got to come first, if you know what I mean. So that's something I've been working on here at the end of 2024. And I plan to keep working on it as we move into 2025. Of course, I have full-length tutorials over on my Patreon where you can see everything in real time, and I'm teaching. Okay, so I've moved my paints out of the way, and I've got my Derwent drawing pencils and my collection of Caran d'Ache luminance, and I'm going to do some details now, I think. So I did end up doing some colored pencil, but I also ended up scanning this in and then doing what I call a sprinkle of digital magic over it. I do that a lot, especially if I'm worried about like messing up the piece by making an addition I hadn't planned, or if I'm pressed for time, or if I want to get like some really bright highlights or some glowing effects. It's nice to do that with the, I use Procreate for the most part. I have Photoshop, but I use Procreate for almost all of it. I am fully proficient in Procreate, but still working on Photoshop. It's a difficult program. If anybody would like a little video on how to do a little sprinkle of digital magic with Procreate, let me know that down in the comments too, and I'll think about doing a video. Oh right, I took out my oil pastels for this. I totally forgot I did that. I need to get those out. These are my Sennelier oil pastels, the landscape set. I love these. I've been meaning to play with them more. I took them out briefly last month for this, and then a couple little sketches that I did with them, and then put them away and haven't taken them out since, and I really should. I really enjoyed them. Okay, we're going to move on to the Blue Jay now with the Acrylic Gouache, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, everybody, so since we did a more children's book, less realistic type illustration with the Holbein Artist Gouache, the non-acrylic, I thought for using the Holbein Acrylic Gouache, I thought we could do a more realistic Blue Jay in the snow. This is sketched out on the Legion Stonehenge Aqua Hot Press. The line work for this will be up as just a special little December gift if you're a Patreon over in December. The tier is only $5. It's all one tier. There's videos and all sorts of fun stuff. And this would just be an extra that'll be up in December for you if you want to follow along with my line work. I have the Holbein Acrylic Gouache. These are the colors they sent. To be fair, I did go out and buy these two. So I bought the ultramarine blue and the primary magenta, and then with these 5 colors plus black and white, you have basically a split primary palette, which is what I like to paint with. So ultramarine blue, primary magenta, and then the set, the 5 color set that they sent me is sky blue, lemon yellow, and I forget what this one is, carmine. So this is what I'm going to be using to paint. And we may add some colored pencil, we may add some ink and pen, I just don't know. We'll start with the acrylic and see where we go from there. And I've got my small Masterston's Stay Wet Handy palette ready to go. And I'm going to empty my water and get some fresh and just clean up here a little bit, and then we will start painting. Okay, so why does the camera angle look weird? It does though. It looks tipped. I think I fix that in a second. Hopefully I do. Yeah, that's distracting, sorry. So anyway, I'm going to start by painting this sort of like a pinky beige background, and in the end, I don't like it, and I end up painting it more of a darker, desaturated teal. So if you are following along, like if you're one of my patrons and you have the line work from over there and you don't want a beige background, don't paint a beige background. So I do end up giving my final thoughts at the end about the paints, but I might as well talk a little bit about them now. So I normally use Turner Acrylic Gouache, and it's a fair amount cheaper than this. It is fairly nicely pigmented. I'd call it more of an intermediate level acrylic gouache, whereas this is definitely a professional level. I had resisted trying this because I know how expensive it is. But in the end, I'm saying it's definitely worth the money. I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, I think. So I've just mixed up sort of a darker bark color here, and I'm putting that in as the base layer, and here I'm already noticing that I don't like the background, and I'm like, maybe if I make it a little grayer. I do struggle with this background quite a bit, and actually even after I add the teal background, I still feel like that side over there is too empty, and I briefly paint in some red berries. They're supposed to be high bush cranberries, and then decide I don't like those either and paint over them again. This was one of those paintings where it was very nice to have acrylic gouache. I would not have been able to do this painting with regular gouache because I ended up painting over things so much. And it wasn't because of a lack of planning, because I did have this all sketched out and I liked the sketch when I started with it. Sometimes that happens when you're painting. Sometimes even though it looks good in the sketch, like you just don't like the finished product as much, I guess. Here I'm putting in some of the blue shadows of the snow. Even though this is acrylic gouache, I'm so used to using regular gouache that I'm actually painting like this is regular gouache. And the dog just came in and is rolling around on the carpet and snorting behind me. So if you hear her, sorry, that's Belle. I don't know what she's doing, being crazy. But anyway, so when you're painting with regular gouache or artist gouache or designer's gouache, it goes by a lot of different names, you want to either try not to paint in layers too much because you can reactivate the layers below. So you can see, like, I'm leaving the white of the paper for the snow, and then instead of painting the whole area the darkest color of snow color like I would if I was using acrylics or oil paints, I ended up, or I do it in like sections. And you'll see me do it here on the bird too. I'm painting as if this is regular gouache and not acrylic gouache. And I don't know why I did that, because I knew it was acrylic gouache. I've been sick, I'm tired, there's been a lot going on. I don't know, I guess I'm just used to painting like it's regular gouache because that's what I use the most. So you would, paint section by section, almost like a paint by number, like when we were kids, where you pick your color and you paint just that little area with it, instead of like I would with acrylic paints or even oil paints. If I'm painting alla prima, I would also paint section by section, but if I'm doing layers, I would do like I would paint the whole base color. I usually either do the medium tone and then add like a couple shades of highlights and a couple shades of like darks and shadows, or I'll do the whole thing, the shadow colors, and build on top of it with the lights. So I'm painting more here like I would with designer's gouache or oil paints, where I'm painting alla prima. And the point of that is when you're using those is you can't layer easily. So you have to plan. You can't do layers. With designer regular artist gouache, you can maybe get 3 layers before things start to get really muddy. Sometimes 2. Sometimes if you're really heavy-handed, if you try to even just go over with 1 layer, you can have issues. I know that that's where most people who have tried regular gouache, I know that's where a lot of people struggle. So that is why acrylic gouache was invented, because a lot of people have that issue. The thing with acrylic gouache, though, is then it's basically like you're painting in acrylics. So you can't do a lot of blending or soft gradients or whatnot, because it dries fast like acrylics, and it's really hard to do the blending. So it's, give and take. You have to pick what you want to do. So there's my face. I have that new light, and it does help for everybody to see it better. But the problem for me is that it reflects off the paper into my eyes. You can't see it with the camera, but when I'm painting, it's reflecting into my eyes. So it looks a whole lot better for everybody watching, but for me, it's suddenly become a whole lot harder to paint flat with that light over it. So I can't win. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to go back to my original setup or what. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So with one of the nice things about regular gouache is that you can reactivate. And like I said, I know a lot of people struggle with it, but if you want to get a really beautiful gradient in a sunset sky, you know, you can layer it in and just keep, you know, working it until it's blended into a beautiful gradient, which you can't do with acrylic gouache or any acrylic paint. So, you know, you're going to have to think ahead and be like, well, what is my main goal? Do I need to blend things? Do I need to have, you know, soft lost edges? Do I need, you know, or is it okay to do a lot of hard edged layers? I mean, you can get around that a little bit by dry brushing, but I'm not a huge fan of dry brushing. So, you know, So, you know, it's like I said, you're going to have to plan ahead a little bit, but you can still, I mean, I used to struggle with acrylics and acrylic gouache, but I've gotten a lot more used to it, I guess. I think I'm watching something over there while I'm painting. I think I am. I don't know what I'm watching. I can't see. I'm probably watching somebody I follow on Patreon. Anyway, I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh, so for acrylics, I struggled for a really long time with them because I was trying to use them like I would oil paints, and you just can't. You have to paint a whole different way, and it took me, there's a learning curve. It took me quite a while to figure out how to do that, and you know, but once I had it, it's all of a sudden I find myself reaching for my acrylics and my acrylic gouache. It's been a while since I took out my oil paints. And that's partially because I feel like they're easier now. There's not all that, I don't have to worry about having a wet painting drying somewhere for, you know, 3 to 6 days, depending on the conditions. And here you're seeing my repainting of the background. But and then like I do have a whole non-toxic way of painting with oil paints, but it's still quite a bit of work. And for me, I'm busy, I have kids, and I'm working hard, and I don't have a lot of spare time, so the faster the cleanup and setup I can do, the more likely I am to sit down and paint for a while. Now, this is where I'm putting in those cranberries that I then decide I hate. There's my head again. I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to see what I'm doing without the glare on it. But yeah, so I painted these in, and they're not in the line work over on Patreon, and I will paint them back out in a second. You keep seeing my phone. I'm checking the contrast with my phone. So I find when I take a photo of a piece I'm working on and then look at it, I can see like the values and the contrast better. And it's kind of like, you know, looking in a mirror or something. It's just a slightly different point of view. It shrinks everything down. It helps me see the composition better. So when you see my camera, that's what I'm doing. Or my phone. I'm checking to see if I like the values. There's my head again. I don't know about this light. That's why I'm picking it up and looking at it too. The glare is pretty bad. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do with the light there. But in the end, I guess I'm glad I painted the berries out. There they go. Maybe I should have left them. I don't know. I probably should just let it sit overnight and then made the decision. That's the hairdryer. I was trying to get this done before I went to bed or something. I don't know. And a little bit of snow. All right, so I'm going to be back in real time to give you my final thoughts. Okay, so there is the finished painting I did with the Holbein Acrylic Gouache. Remembering that I did buy these 2 other tubes just to have a bigger range of mixing. I misplaced the sketchbook, I think I don't know, I might have left it. Oh, I might have left it somewhere, but I'll pop up a picture again of the little illustration I did with the Artist Gouache. Again, remembering that I bought this one just to go with it to have more mixing for that as well. I can tell you right now, I love both of these very much. I'm for sure going to be getting some of the Holbein's Artist Gouache. I'm almost out of my Winsor & Newton Designer's Gouache, and I like this a lot better. It was not as stiff for me, and I also felt like it did not reactivate quite as easily as the Winsor & Newton's Artist Gouache, which is nice. If I wanted it to reactivate, I could put a little more oomph into it and reactivate, talking about when it's on the paper, like for blending, because I like to reactivate the bottom layer sometimes to blend, not when it's dried on a pan. I had no trouble reactivating it for that, but compared to the Winsor & Newton, I felt like bottom layers, once I let it dry, stayed put a little bit better so that I didn't have to fight with it quite as much. And then for the acrylic gouache, I did like it better than the Turner acrylic gouache, which is what I'm using right now. I felt like there was less of a color shift when it dried compared to the Turner acrylic gouache. I also felt like the consistency was a little creamier and also less stiff than the Turner acrylic gouache, so I was fighting it a little bit less. And it also seemed, when I diluted it and used it more like a watercolor, it seemed like it handled better than the Turner acrylic gouache. I'm going to have to run some more tests, but I may be possibly switching out from these to the Turner acrylic gouache just because I felt like I struggled less with it and it was a more enjoyable painting experience. Again, this wasn't sponsored. They're not paying me in any way. They just sent me some stuff to try. And a huge thank you to Holbein for sending me the things to try. If you would like to check out my Patreon, it'll be linked down below. There's only one tier. It's only $5. It's got tons of videos and behind the scenes stuff and photos of my life on a weekly basis and stuff like that. I'll link that down below. And if you have not hit the like or subscribe button yet, it would be lovely if you did. That is a free, no-cost way for you to support my channel. And until next time, happy creating!